Welcome to the Taiwan Culture Base. Wang Qing Western-style house. Standing before this Western-style house, you are not just looking at an old building, but a living memory of Jinmen's overseas heritage, the Hopu district, and the lifestyle of the 1930s. Built in 1934, Wang Qing Western-style house has stood for more than 90 years. Its unique pentagonal columns embody his architectural style. This building bears witness to the years when people from Jinmen traveled overseas to Southern Asia in search of opportunities, a journey once known as Lo Huan. It also reflects how Western-style architecture, shaped by overseas experiences, returned home and became part of everyday life. Today, let us step into the magnificence of 1930s Hopu. From the late Qing dynasty to the early Republic of China period, Jinmen's limited resources and environment led many residents to leave their hometown in search of a better life. They traveled across the sea to Southeast Asia, commonly referred to as the Nanyang, including places such as Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. For many, this was not just migration, but a journey shaped by livelihood, destiny, and family hopes. Only a few truly succeeded, yet those who did often sent money back home, building grand houses and Western-style residences to provide stability for their families and to symbolize their achievements abroad. Between 1920 and 1937, Jinmen experienced a peak period of Western-style house construction. These buildings were not merely architectural forms, but clear imprints of Jinmen's overseas Chinese culture. Wang Qing Western-style house is one of the most representative examples of this history. Its architectural style blends influences from Southeast Asia and Western colonial design, reflecting Jinmen's connection with the wider world at that time. You may notice several distinctive features: the arcade, supported by pentagonal house pillars at the front, which creates a continuous and elegant streetscape; the gabled facade, cast iron window grills, wooden louvered windows, and decorative plasterwork and patterned tiles. These details are not only decorative, but also reflect the aspirations for modernity, lifestyle, and the imagination of the overseas world at that time. In a way, these houses brought the scenery of Nanyang back to Jinmen and preserved the dreams of an era within the hometown. The original owner of this house was Mr. Wang Qing. He initially operated a bookstore in Jinmen. Around 1937, during a time of instability when Japanese forces advanced into Jinmen, he planned to leave for Southeast Asia. However, life took an unexpected turn. While traveling to Xiamen, his wife passed away due to illness. He then returned to Jinmen with his family and purchased this Western-style house on Zhuguang Road. Later, he introduced Western-style baking techniques from Tainan and opened Jinmen's first bakery. Because of this, the story of Wang Qing Western-style house is unique. It is not only a symbol of overseas heritage architecture, but also a place that carries a family's hardship, a neighborhood's shared memories, and the early traces of modern lifestyle development in Jinmen. There are over 100 Western-style houses in Jinmen. However, many have gradually lost their original functions due to owners settling overseas, relocation of descendants, aging structures, and difficulties in maintenance. Some have even fallen into disrepair. The revival of Wang Qingyun Western-style house is therefore especially meaningful. With the consent of its owners, the Jinmen County government carried out restoration and revitalization. It is now operated by the Project Team Jin Western-style house and reopened for public visits, guided tours, and cultural use. Today, it is no longer just preserved. It has become a place where visitors can enter, experience, and rediscover Jinmen's overseas Chinese culture. When you visit this house today, you are not simply observing a building. One of the most iconic experiences here is the Qipao experience. Visitors can step into this space, dress in traditional attire, enjoy a cup of coffee or sparkling drink, and immerse themselves in the retro atmosphere and elegance of the past. After a short rest, you can continue walking through Hopu Old Street, where history and modern life intertwine. Through clothing, space, and the ambience of the street, visitors are no longer just observers of history, but participants within it, experiencing the everyday life of the 1930s Hopu. In addition to the Qipao experience, guided walking tours and photography routes are also available, connecting surrounding landmarks. Starting from this house, you can explore nearby attractions such as Mo-Fan Street, Chou-Liang-Gong, Mother Chastity Arch, Jinmen Military Headquarters of the Qing Dynasty, Wudao City God Temple, and Hope 16 Arts and Culture District. In this way, the house is no longer a static display, but becomes the starting point for understanding the entire historic district of Hopu. The importance of Wang Qingyun Western-style house lies not only in its age or beauty, but in the history it carries. In the past, Western-style houses symbolized the journey of leaving home, striving abroad, and giving back to one's hometown. Today, when these buildings are restored, reinterpreted, and transformed into accessible cultural experiences, they become more than historical witnesses. They become the foundation of local cultural revitalization. Here in Jinmen, Western-style houses are more than residences. They record stories of departure and return, of struggle and perseverance, and of people's visions of home, life, and their era. Wang Qingyun Western-style house is part of that story. If you wish, you may begin here, slowly walking into the streets of Hopu and into the magnificence of the 1930s that still lingers in its architecture and streetscapes. Thank you for your visit. We look forward to welcoming you again to the Taiwan cultural bases of Jinmen, Wang Qingyun Western-style house.